Today I'm going to be showing you two simple techniques on how to do feed-in cornrows just like this here. So if that's what you're interested in learning, keep watching. Let's begin on freshly shampooed, conditioned, and blow-dried hair. Now this is going to help out with a number of different things. It helps out to ensure that you're not having issues with tangling, knotting, things like that, which in turn is going to make it faster for you to braid, but also result in a lot less breakage of the hair, things along that line. So you always want to make sure your prep is on point. Do you absolutely have to do this? No, but I like to. Now from there, I'm going to go ahead and separate out the hair. I use a thread rack like this here. Don't slap your client in the face like I just did. That was an accident. But nonetheless, putting it on a thread rack like this allows me to work a bit more efficiently as I'm separating out my hair. I will link it down in the description box below, but please don't feel like you have to get this to be able to do it. I am going to show you a technique or a method that you can use that does not incorporate this. You can also lay it out on a tabletop surface like this here, and placing it out like this allows you to easily grab, but it can sometimes cause hair to fall on the floor a bit easier, so that's about the only downside. The upside is it saves you a lot more money than getting a thread rack and doing it the other way. Now I am using a light blue color of hair so you can more easily see it on camera. I would typically recommend using a color that is either blended with your client's hair color or one that is their hair color in general, just so it's a bit closer. All right, I'm going to share two different techniques on how to do feed-in cornrows. I always like to start off with rather thin pieces. The size of the piece you start off with is entirely up to you. I just feel like a thin piece always makes any cornrow look better. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with some pretty small pieces here. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of begin adding in. You probably won't be able to see a ton at first, but we'll still give it a shot, boo. So I'm gonna go ahead and add into my middle strand and my outside strand. We're going to feed up and around and then under. Here we go. Again, I'm gonna take that piece, gonna feed into my middle strand, up and around and under, and we're gonna continue with that there. All right. Once I get to where I feel like you can see a bit better, we're going to go ahead and add in a bit more. All right, so one technique that we'll do is we can add in from the side. So you can see I've got my three strands here. We have our left strand, our middle strand, and our outside strand. I can go ahead and add in to my middle strand here. So I'd basically be taking my strands, gripping this way here. And then from there, I would just go ahead and add into the middle. I've got my hands slipped away so you can more easily see what's happening. This really isn't my favorite way of adding in, but it's a way that you can. So we'll go ahead and take it. Then from there, I'm gonna bring up, grip under, and come around, just like that. And it allows you to add that hair in. I'm gonna go ahead and move a step down here, under. Again, I'm gripping my middle strand. We've got my outside strand here. I'm going to go ahead, slide in, grip on the outside, up, around, and under again. Now, like I said, this really isn't my favorite method of adding in hair, but it is easier for a lot of people when it comes down to gripping and all that. So I know you're probably wondering, well, if that's not my favorite method, what technique do I prefer to use when adding in hair? I'll show you. So I instead tend to add into my top two strands, which is typically what's going to be happening when you're adding into the middle and flipping anyway. So let me show you what this looks like. I prefer to take across the top two strands, just like this. And then from there, we're going to bring that middle strand up and wrap around. Just like that. It just, to me, it feels a lot easier. I can add in as frequently as I want to. Again, placing across the top. We're adding to my top strand here and my top strand there, not to my middle strand. And we're going to come under and around. And I can do that as many times as I need to until I get to the thickness that I'm looking for. By the way, there are no products in this hair. You can use a braiding gel if you choose, but I want to make sure that we're focused more on technique than we are on product. So again, under, and then I'll add to my outside strands. So the two top strands, not to the middle. So you could do it across here and then bring the left under. I prefer to bring the right under just because I'm right-handed. So it's entirely up to you. Crossing over top, bring up, and braid. And you turn a bit so you can see a bit easier. Again, over top, feed under, and braid. And I just feel like this is a lot more of a simple technique when it comes down to cornrowing. Now again, if you've never cornrowed before, I do have a cornrowing tutorial that breaks it down for beginners. I will link that in the top right corner for you to be able to see, but I want to ensure that I'm showing you exclusively how to do feed ins in this one here without wasting your time. So if you've learned something from this video, you found it to be helpful, please let me know in the comments. And of course, if you think that someone else might benefit from it, feel free to share this as well. Once you get down, now the whole time I'm doing this, I'm feeling for thickness, and honestly, I've added a ton of hair into this section, so I'm not overly concerned with the hair's ability to blend in. And usually I would be using a color that matches a bit better with my client's hair. However, in this instance, I am using an opposing color because I want to ensure that you can easily see what's happening on screen. So typically when you're coming down, you're just gonna braid and continue. And of course, if you wanted to put braiding gel in and all that, you can do that. It'll help to lay those ends in with the hair. And I'm just feeling in between my strands. So like this middle strand here could use a little bit more. So I'm just gonna steal a touch from that neighboring strand and pull in. And as I'm feeling for that, I'm feeling for which strands are thicker and thinner, and you want to steal small amounts at a time. I want you to think about it like if you were taking someone's money and you're taking 25 cents at a time, they're going to be much less likely to notice that than they would if you took $100. So we don't want to take a big bulky piece if your pieces are feeling like they're not quite balanced. You want to take a little bit at a time, and that way it doesn't make your braid feel like it's bouncy. It looks very smooth all the way down. And you can see that way we don't have any hair sticking out, anything like that. All right. If you find this video helpful and you would like other videos like this, please feel free to click the subscribe button or the like button, as well as if you like this mannequin, she is linked down below. I'll talk to you later, boo. Take care, God bless, and stay glam, and you know I love you, boo. Bye. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing or check out these other videos that I've listed on screen. And of course, if you didn't like this video, why haven't you clicked the like button yet, friend? Comment and let me know your video suggestions down below. I'll see you next time, boo. Bye.